Am I the a-hole for selling my late husband's classic car instead of gifting it to my son? My late husband passed away in 2013 was a classic car guy. He bought and sold them since he was a teenager as a hobby. After he passed away, I kept his favorite car. My brother-in-law would come by and maintain it for us, and sometimes take it to shows. My son would often go with his uncle to shows, and when my son got his license, he was allowed to occasionally drive the car when either his stepdad, I remarried in 2017, or his uncle was able to go with him. Unfortunately, the past 2 years were very difficult for us. My husband got very sick and was in the ICU. He almost didn't come back home. Between the medical bills and him being out of work, we have gotten into a substantial amount of debt. I called my brother-in-law and gave him the first option to buy the car. He declined to purchase but said he would put feelers out and see if he could find someone. And yes, he did. I told my son we would have to sell the car, and he did not take it very well. To be frank, he threw a temper tantrum bigger than any he had as an actual toddler. He says I have no right to use his inheritance to pay for my husband's medical bills. I explained to him that he doesn't get any inheritance until I die anyways, and that I wasn't going to let our family suffer over a car. That selling the car is what will allow us to keep the family home and help him pay for his education. I apologized and told him if there were any other options, I would have taken them. But this is just the way life works out, sometimes as sucky as that may be. He says that my husband and stepson are not his family and has since stopped talking to his stepfather and stepbrother completely, and I am lucky if I get more than a word out of him. Am I the a-hole for selling the car to pay off medical debts and rebuild our savings? Edit. Since a lot of people have asked, no, my husband did not have any specific instructions for what to do with the car. He had a bit of a revolving door of cars. Bought and sold one a year, it seemed. We had 3 at a time of this debt. 2 were sold right away and kept this one because it was the most valuable and the one my husband had held onto for the longest. Edit 2. This will probably be the last I post on this thread. Seems that judgments are mixed. Lots of you're the a-holes and you're not the a-holes. I feel like shit about it. I hate that my son is hurting. However, I don't believe that anything I did was a real true asshole move. We are in a tough spot. Life happens and we did what we needed to do. For what it's worth, when I refer to my son having a temper tantrum, that is my own personal venting about his reaction. I have never let my son onto those feelings of mine. To give a clearer picture of the financials, I have been on disability since my son was 3. I am physically incapable of working more than part-time, which I do, and get a small disability payment. Yes, we have health insurance. However, my husband's medical bills are literally in the 7-figure range. We owe a shit ton and we'll be paying it off for years. The big problem has been with so little income for so long. We had living expenses, attorney fees, insurance premiums, and the like. Stuff that needs paid now. We were hoping that my husband's disability claims and the back payments would have gone through before home foreclosure loomed. We would have been able to catch up and pay back some of the savings we had to borrow from our emergency fund, retirement, and college funds, still waiting on that to come through, thus the attorney fees. Either way, my husband will be getting back to work soon. We are keeping our home. We have a plan for both kids so their college will be paid for. We will be okay. My son previously had a good relationship with his stepdad and stepbrother. I will be speaking to my son about going back to speak with his grief counselor or doing some family therapy to work through this. I am sure we will all get through this with time. For the top comments, Lola the showgirl. I know how hard medical debit can hit a family. It must have been terrible. But from your son's perspective, he got rid of his father's prized possession to pay off your new husband's debit. I don't know how you thought your relationship with him, or moreover his relationship with his stepdad, was not going to suffer. I think you're the a-hole for downplaying your son's feelings as a temper tantrum. You took away a link he had to his dead father. Of course he'd be upset. You phrased having to sell the car as the right move for the family, but your husband and stepson are your family, and you took something precious from your son's family to sustain your new family. As a third-party adult, I understand why you made this decision. But if I was your son, it would take a lot of work to repair this rift. Edit. To everyone saying so you'd have them live in the car, be homeless, on the streets, etc. I never said that she should have kept the car and lost the house. I said she's an asshole for dismissing her son's grief, and that as an impartial adult, I may understand why she had to sell the car. But I doubt a grieving teenage boy would, and their relationship may very well be damaged by her actions. Another comment from a user named by any other. Going on to pay for your education. Comment 2. I'm assuming that son is not yet 18 and therefore still has college to pay for in the future. To dismiss a literal child's feelings in such a way is abhorrent. It's an incredibly difficult situation, but she's completely dismissed her son's feelings and the fact he's lost his father and the main sentimental link he had to him. From ambiguous wariness. She actually emptied his entire college fund already, one his father presumably contributed to. So I don't know how she claims she's paying for his education when apparently they're still in a position where they're going to lose the house. Again, from a username by any other. What the heck? She spent her kid's college fund on her new husband and sold his dad's car to pay for her husband too? I know medical bills are a problem in the US, but this is ice cold. Would not be surprised if mom doesn't hear from her son once he turns 18. Another comment from subreddit lurker08. My former neighbors were saddled with $25,000 in medical debt after the second child was born, and they had insurance. Another friend has a very rare health issue that led her to have multiple heart attacks in a short time frame. They owe $86,000, but the actual care that insurance covered was millions. Sometimes things happen and you have to make crappy decisions. A username by any other replied, absolutely. It's an awful situation and the real villain is the American healthcare system. But surely you guys have payment plans? You don't just need to hand over a wad of cash the day you leave, or you leave mine as a kidney as an in-kind payment, right?